course, because the much-loved retailer Wilko has declared administration this week, putting 12,000 jobs at risk. Is this the end of the high street as we know it?
Well, it comes amid warnings from top economists that the Bank of England's rate rises risk tipping Britain into recession.
So, will the economy ever get back on its feet? Or are things looking up after the GDP figures announced this morning? Well, who better to ask than the former advisor to the Bank of England and the Treasury, Roger Gewolb. And Roger, thank you so much for joining us this morning. First of all, your reaction to the GDP figures this morning. They were better than expected.
Yes, they were. But I think we're still suffering from the same mistakes that have been made, raising corporation tax, which has been passed on to us, which should be raised, but not at a time like this. 14 consecutive, in my view, as I've been saying since the outset, useless interest rate rises, which haven't curbed inflation, but have crushed the economy and severely damaged the property, the mortgage, the rental, etc. markets. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, no.
Roger, I wanted to get your reaction to Wilko, the much-loved British brand. It's now gone into administration, 12,000 jobs at risk. I know how you feel about the Bank of England rate rises. Would you say that this has made it particularly challenging for businesses like Wilko to stay in business?
I think it has, but I can't really lay too much of the blame on the Bank of England and those interest rate rises. Wilko is... it's a very sad case, 12,000 jobs. All those customers like me, so disappointed by such a wonderful business started all those years ago in Leicester. But to look at things realistically, if you travel the country's high streets, as I do, and speak with my fans, whatever they are. I mean, between all the high streets I travel to and the call-in shows I do, there's thousands, I don't know, millions, I don't know how many, but I mean, I talk to them all the time, and there's two big points here. Number one is they really feel heard by this government, and to some extent the media, less and less. They really are not being listened to. And when you speak to them about things like Wilko, they all knew this was coming. This is like Woolworths all over again. People were talking about Wilko going under in the insolvency world many, many, many months ago. They haven't stocked the right things. You ask my people out on the street, and they'll say, you know, I love it, but I go in there and they don't have this, and the staff doesn't know when they'll have that. They haven't really run the business well, number one. Number two, they are still in the high street. Where firms like Wilko, Poundland and such, have moved to industrial parks. And they're operating in a different way, whereas Wilko has still exposed itself to the competition from the internet. They're operating in a different age. They haven't changed with the times. And again, if you talk to my people out in the street all over the UK, I mean, thousands of them say to me the same thing as I travel around, which is that, and they're not being heard because they don't get listened to. The high street is changing. It's evolving, though. There are some great businesses in the high street. Things change, guys. There are some terrific cafes and shops and new concepts opening up. The elephants and dinosaurs are going, and the small leopards and cheetahs are coming in. I'm so sorry for all the staff. Really sorry. There's nothing could have been done for them, but that's how it is.
It's so interesting that could be, well, how Wilko managed itself rather than the wider economic conditions. Perhaps if they'd taken different business decisions, things could have been different.